Live. I think we're good.
Yeah, and we're live. Okay, cool.
Sweet.
Okay, welcome everybody to the AmeriTaiNadian podcast. I believe this is going to be podcast number 5. Is that right? Yeah, number
I
5?
think so. Yeah, number 5.
Yeah, okay, so this is podcast number 5.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm Brian, the American in Taiwan, and I'm glad you're here. And I'll throw it over to my podcasting partner.
So hi, I'm Daniel. I'm the Taiwanese, born and raised in Canada. And it's funny that the last time we did this on my channel, I didn't know what to talk about, and you had a topic. And now we're doing this on your channel. You didn't know what to talk about, and so I'm bringing something up.
Yeah, it goes back and forth, right?
Yeah, it works out. It works out.
Yeah, it does work out. Okay, so sorry, no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if you wanted me to just to start, I guess.
Yeah, well, actually, if it's okay, I'd like to kick off. There's two things that I wanted to that I kind of wanted to bring up before we got deep down the rabbit hole.
Sure.
Because our podcast is a disclaimer. It's going to be a little dark, guys. We're talking about some heavy shit. So before we do that, I kind of want to lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to get started, I have beer because we're talking about some heavy shit. So this is a Taiwanese beer, and here it is.
Yeah.
It's part of a series that I've tried before from Modern House Brewing Company.
Is this another, I guess, Caucasian started brewery? Yeah,
it was started by foreigners, by expats. They started their company. I think they're based out of Taiwan, if I'm correct.
1 second, my dad's fucking knocking on the door. 1 second.
It's okay. So anyway, yeah, they're based out of Taiwan, if I'm correct. And right now they have a series of 4 different beers. I've tried the other 3. You can see about that on my Instagram. I've posted about that, and these beers have appeared in some of my other videos. So this one right here, this is the Scholars Hoppy Session Ale, and that's the one I'll be trying today. And I've already opened it, and I've already taken a swig. And I got to be honest with you guys that this beer right here is much better than the one that I tried before. I believe I tried one on our last podcast, on podcast number 4. I don't know if Dan remembers that or not.
Yeah, it looks familiar.
Yeah, I said that the other beer was kind of mediocre, that I wasn't kind of feeling it. I'm feeling this one. This one is particularly good. So yeah, this one is right up there. I don't know if it's my favorite out of the 4, but this one is up there.
Is it the same brewery?
Yeah, same brewery. Oh, okay. And by the way, those guys are going to come out with a 5th beer, so that they're going to end up having a series of actually 5 beers overall. So yeah.
So I had to cut out for a second. My dad's friend's over, and he needed to borrow my pipe.
Ah, no problem. Don't worry about it. Anyway, so yeah, Modern House Brewing, based out of Taichung. Taiwan is producing a ton of awesome microbrews and craft beers these days. So if you love beer, you need to come to Taiwan because we got it. We got the good shit.
And this is are they Americans that started this brewery? Sorry.
I should know this, but I'm not sure. I believe, yeah, they're probably Americans or Canadians, I believe, right? Okay. Maybe even English. Right. I think I met the one guy at like a craft beer fair in Taipei, and I remember him having either an American or a Canadian accent.
Okay.
Right. Like I don't remember anything weird like Scottish or anything like that.
You know what? Let's see. Are you drinking it right now?
Yeah, I'm day drinking. Okay. Well, it's 11 o'clock and I'm drinking. So yeah, day drinking. It is. Oh, what is that? Aviation. Yeah, Aviation American Gin. Is that what it says?
It is. So I don't know if you know the actor Ryan Reynolds. He plays Deadpool. Right. So he's from Vancouver, where I am right now. And
he's Canadian? That fool's Canadian?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I didn't know that.
He's Canadian. Yeah.
Oh, he's one of you.
Yeah, he's not far from here. Well, I mean, like he's from like right here. So
he's from BC?
Yeah, well, he's from Vancouver.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Right? So He actually bought, I guess, a pretty large stake in the company, so now he's a pretty big owner, I guess, in this. So I just decided to try it.
Wow,
And
dude,
since
cool.
you're, I don't really have a cup in my room right now, but since you're
You
drinking
can
off
drink
this
straight
cup,
out the bottle if you're a real
I'll
alcoholic.
oh well, okay. I don't know. I'm not that, but cheers.
Yeah, cheers, dude. Or
All right.
since it's Deadpool, should we say chimichanga?
Oh yeah. Oh, what does that even mean?
You don't know what a chimichanga is?
Is that a snack? Is that a hot dog or something?
No, it's a food. It's a Mexican dish. It's like Mexican American food.
Okay. Is it like a
You
taco?
gotta Google it, bro. You gotta Google it.
Okay, I'll do that another time. Anyway.
All right. Anyway, yeah. Cheers, chimichanga.
Hmm. Lovely. All right.
Yeah. Was it? Is it good?
I mean, I'm not a gym person, but
Okay.
it's not awful. It's not. I'll just
Yeah.
say that it's not awful.
Does it burn or is it smooth?
It's pretty smooth. I mean,
Yeah.
it warms the throat a little bit, I guess.
Okay.
It's going down, but it
Okay.
doesn't burn, and it's pretty smooth. So
Sure. Nice.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, one more thing that I wanted to do before we get deep down the rabbit hole and get all depressed.
Yes.
I part joking. I recently, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you already know this, but I recently posted about a new flag that I got. I have a lot of nerdy tendencies, a lot of dorky tendencies, and I quite like flags.
Hmm.
And I'm actually part of groups that are all about flags or vexiology.
Oh.
I am that nerdy.
No,
Vexiology.
I've never heard of that word. Yeah, go ahead.
It's the study of flags.
Okay.
I'm dorking out right now, but
No.
I got a new one recently. This is a Taiwanese
Okay. I was gonna say it kind of
independence
looks,
flag.
okay.
I think you saw this posted on my Instagram, right?
I might have.
Yeah, did
I
you?
don't recall right now, but yeah, it kind of looks. I was gonna guess it was kind of Japanese, but Taiwan.
I think it's Japanese inspired because of
Yeah.
the insignia on the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
So this flag is called the Four Hearts in Harmony, and I quite like it because the Four Hearts includes everybody in Taiwan. It includes each of the Four Hearts represents one of the main groups that lives here on Taiwan. So there's one heart for the Aborigines, and there's a heart for the Hakka, and a heart for the Hoklo, and then there's a heart for the mainlanders. So it kind of brings everybody together in one big family, and it represents everybody, right? And to me, it feels, very welcoming, and like it doesn't shut anybody out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I quite like it for that.
Did you say like the symbol in the middle, like each petal represents one of the people?
Yeah, right. So
I don't know.
they kind of form hearts, right? On the ends.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I'm not very good at holding it, but
Yeah.
they kind of form hearts, right? Like each one's a heart.
Yeah,
if you turn it that
two
way.
together. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So every heart is for one group, right? So
Right.
we each have a heart, and it comes together. You see the symbolism?
Oh yeah.
You getting it?
Oh yeah. Now I get it. Yeah.
So
Well, no, yeah.
So yeah, I got that. I actually got it back in Chinese New Year times. So I've had it for a while, and I just didn't post about it.
Okay.
Because like time just got away from me. But yeah, that's just one in like a bunch of different flags I have. I have another Taiwanese independence flag. I have this one.
Isn't that kind of like just the DPP?
No, this is an independence flag. This one's more popular now. The Four Hearts one was more popular in the 1990s, but this one's more popular now. Okay. So there's that one. Those two are independence flags. I also have an ROC flag. This is the one that most people think of as Taiwan's flag. Right.
Well, it technically is the official flag.
Right. This is the only one that has like official status, right? Yeah. So I have those. And then I have some political party flags, and this will make Dan laugh because what I don't have is the DPP flag, but what I do have is a KMT flag.
Yeah.
So here's a KMT party flag.
Interesting.
And I own that, but I don't own a DPP party flag, which will make you laugh because you know how I feel about the KMT.
Yeah, interesting. Wait, did you just like get a bunch of flags, or how did that work?
Well, I've been collecting them over time, right? And actually, there's a very there's a very nice story. There's a very sweet story behind this flag.
Hmm.
In the way I got it. Like me and my family went up to Danshui, which is in New Taipei City, like up north near the north coast,
Mm.
and we were walking on the Danshui Old Street, where they have like a lot of tourist vendors and restaurants and shops and stuff. And walking by one, and we stopped inside, and my sons were like looking at the candies and the toys and stuff. And I noticed like way up high, like on a shelf, there was that flag there. And I was like, oh my God, there's a flag. And I need it for my collection, right? And I started like getting all like, girly about it. I was like, oh, I need that. And like I went up to the shopkeeper and I was asking her in Mandarin, like, I like that. Like I told her, like, I like that and I kind of I want that. So will you sell it to me? How much is it? And she just grabs it up and she's like, you know what? Just here, just take it. Like, go ahead and take it. And I was like, what? No, 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 no way, no way. Like, I took out my wallet and like, I gotta pay you. This isn't right. Like, I gotta pay you.
Was
And
this a KMT flag?
yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
she refused me. She's like, no, 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 no way. I'm not taking your money. You take this flag and you go and you have a nice day, okay?
She didn't even want it, because
Yeah,
it was
no, like
KMT.
she just gave it to me and she's like, you just take it and you have a nice
Yeah.
day and don't worry about it because I'll get another one. Like I can easily get another one.
Okay.
And I was like, are you for real? Like you're being super nice to me right now. Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, that sounds pretty familiar with how the Taiwanese do things. Yeah, just take it. Don't worry about it.
yeah, yeah, no, but I
Yeah.
was like overwhelmed. So I was, I thanked her like 100 times over and I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
so sweet. Like you're just like indulging me in my like fangirlness for this flag.
You
you
how
know
how how were you just going like, shit, 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 shit.
no, no, like I literally said I was like thank you for giving this to me, right? Like thank you, thank you, thank you.
In
You're
English or
so
Mandarin?
in Mandarin. I was like
Oh, nice.
that's very that's very nice, that's very sweet. So
How do you say that in Mandarin?
anyway, she get one nigga, right? Like all that stuff.
Right on.
Anyway, so there's three more that I want to
Yeah,
show off before we get underway.
right
So
on.
another, I want to make sure I'm holding it the right way. So another political party flag I have is this one. So these guys are not mainstream at all. They're very on the fringes.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you can read that, like right here.
Yeah, Freedom Taiwan
Right.
Party.
So they're a party like on the fringe that is dedicated to like Taiwan independence.
Hmm.
Like they're a single issue party. Like that's all they care about. And
Hmm.
really, they don't contest elections. Really, they just like exist to like push that idea. You know what I mean?
Right, right, yeah. Kind of
Like if
like,
somebody in Canada set up like a pot smokers party,
oh, I
you know what I
I
mean?
guarantee you there is one. I'm
Like
pretty sure there is one
like
actually.
the whole reason you all exist is just to like promote this one thing. Like,
Right, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So there's that. Eventually I have to get the DPP party flag because, I got to round out my collection.
Yeah.
And right. So there's two more, not Taiwanese, but I just want to show them off because they're also from the Sino world, right? So
Hmm.
there's this one. I'm not sure if you recognize that.
Hong Kong?
Hong Kong, right?
Yeah.
I've been to Hong Kong. I have
Oh, okay.
videos about that.
I've never been, yeah.
And oh, you should go. You should
Yeah.
go. It's an experience.
Yeah.
And then the other Chinese SAR, that's Macau,
I was just gonna guess that. Yeah, yeah.
which I visited also and I have videos, but more recently. And I gotta say, I love Macau much better than Hong Kong.
Why is that?
When I went, I just felt that Hong Kong was very fast paced and very
Mhm.
hectic,
Yeah, yeah.
and it felt kind of almost like stressful, right?
Mm.
And Hong Kong just kind of made me feel like a little anxiety a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And Macau was like kind of the opposite. Like it felt less crowded and it felt a little bit more relaxed. And I felt like I could breathe easy, over there and just kind of like, not worry about anything. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's so many references to, why Cantonese people from Hong Kong are the way they are because of the very, very rushed culture. There's such a dense population and everybody's
Yeah.
just like go, 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 go. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. They're living on top of each other over there and it's like
Yeah,
really stressful.
yeah. I'm pretty sure the suicide rate is comparable to Japan.
Oh,
Like,
it's probably insane, dude. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like with housing prices and the
yeah,
cost of living,
yeah,
and they have people coming over the border and buying up all their products,
yeah,
and everything's too expensive, and
yeah.
it's wild. Yeah.
I think yeah, you saw my Instagram post about how there are more people committing suicide than people dying of violence, and that's
Is
crime,
that
war.
worldwide? What is that statistic in reference to?
I think it's worldwide
Really?
because
All over the
yeah,
world?
yeah. If you add up all the countries, I wouldn't be surprised with like Japan and Hong Kong in the equation.
Mhm.
Um, so that's war, crime, and terrorism.
That's
I think,
crazy.
yeah, all put together. Doesn't yeah.
That's just
I,
crazy.
it might be just like even like 45, 55, not dramatic, but like it's
Uh-huh.
still like right there. So
Even with like the war in Yemen and the famine and the terrorist attacks and everything, really.
yeah, well, that I only just read that quote, so I didn't really I didn't really see what he cited
Mhm.
in it, but I don't have any reason to doubt him.
That's crazy, dude. We are our own worst enemy, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you see
Like
me
we're
write
we're
about
just
that?
we're self-destructive. Like I think that's what you put in your Instagram story, right?
Well, that's an exact quote. That's statistically we're our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Because there are more people dying of obesity than of hunger. Just things like that. Like healthcare has improved, and so it's our comfort level is. I don't know. We just have different standards of what harms us. I guess if we talk to our parents versus
Mhm.
how we are now,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
it's way different,
the
dude. Like
things that people worried about.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think even from the time I was born till now is like dramatically shifted
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and kick off with our main topic because it was your idea. So
Yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the death penalty in Taiwan, and the reason why I wanted to was because I saw a couple of videos on Facebook. These Taiwanese channels or
yeah,
accounts.
do you want to shout her out? I saw you shared her video.
Um, Wait, what video are you talking about?
The girl who teaches Taiwanese.
The girl who teaches Taiwanese?
Yeah, you posted her video talking about the death penalty on Facebook.
Oh, her.
You know what I'm
Well,
talking? Do you want to shout her out and
the
kind of
one oh sure. Well, I don't know. Okay, I'll
because
share
I
my
actually I used to
screen.
follow her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to follow her, and I was a big fan, and I used to share her videos and stuff. And then she made a few political videos, and I was like, I can't support this. Like,
Hmm.
so I kind of backed away from it. Like, I don't think she's a. Let me be clear. I don't think she's a bad human being,
Right.
and I don't hate her, and I don't want anybody to go and like say mean things to her at all. Like, leave her alone. Okay,
Yeah.
everyone, leave her alone.
Yeah.
But I just don't agree with her, and so I was like, I don't agree with you, and it's to such a point where I just don't really feel like following you anymore. So
Yeah.
I just kind of backed away.
Yeah. That's not what inspired this topic though. It was one of those I guess cop cam footages, where how the cops have cameras on their
Yeah, a body
uniforms or
camera,
whatever, body cams
right?
in Taiwan, where there was an encounter with a cop and somebody getting out of a car and somebody
Was
was
this
reaching for.
recent?
Oh man, I couldn't tell you. I think it might have been like months ago.
Oh, too bad, because I'm kind of I want to know the context because maybe I
Yeah,
remember watching it.
I don't know if I'll be able to search it up because I don't know if I saved it. But anyway, eventually, the cop pulled out his gun and started shooting at him, right? And you and I are, born and raised in the West, right? And we see body cam, these things go on the news, and the the mainstream argument is that the cop went too far. He shouldn't have there wasn't a good enough reason for him to take out his gun and shoot at the civilian. Um, and would you not agree that that is generally the mainstream view that people have? Well, it's obviously, in America it's pretty divided, liberals and conservatives, but the I guess that we're both kind of liberals, and that's kind of generally how we see it, right?
Yeah, I find myself on the left, right?
Yeah,
Like I can't give you, I mean, no definition is perfect, but yeah, I live somewhere on the left, right?
yeah,
On the libertarian left, I would say.
yeah. Me too. That's
Definitely
funny.
on the libertarian side. Like I don't
Yeah,
have any like authoritarian tendencies, and I
yeah,
think what bothers me most when it comes to politics is people who find themselves on the authoritarian side of the spectrum, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm less bothered by left and right.
yeah,
What really bothers me the most is libertarian authoritarian, right?
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
live on the side of like live and let live.
Me too.
And
Yeah,
so if you're right or left and you're trying to tell other people how to live or what to do, and it's like, you know, they're not doing anything bad, like they're not harming anyone or doing property damage or anything like that,
yeah,
then I'm like, no, dude, back off. Like um let people live the way they want to. Like if they're not hurting anyone or anything, then back off. Like back the fuck off, right?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I absolutely do. I think it has to do with it. It definitely has to do with psychology. Because you know what, as a kid, I probably would have been more authoritarian if we, the political compass test, right? And we
Right,
have that as
right,
a
right.
kid.
So like from the top to the bottom, authoritarian, libertarian, and then
Yeah,
it's obviously left and right.
that's right. As a kid, I would have probably been a lot more authoritarian than I am now, in the sense that, as a kid, I'm more idealistic, and I would think
Mhm.
things like, oh, the world should be like this, and we kind of have to force people to be like this because people,
Yeah, but then you grow and you get wiser, and then you see
yeah,
that certain things are just not realistic. It's just
yeah,
not
yeah.
realistic with human nature and the way that humanity behaves, you know?
Yeah, and with, authoritarianism, people resist, and that leads to conflict, and that leads to violence. And
Yeah,
anyway,
right, right.
so back to the body cam footage in Taiwan. So I was gonna
So
look.
where do you, sorry, where do you fall? Like, do you think that it was an overreach for the cop to try and shoot like that if his life was not being threatened directly?
In the body cam footage that I saw,
Correct.
man, it was months ago that I saw this, but
So inappropriate or appropriate? Like, what do you think?
well, no, the reason why I say it was months ago is because I'll have to like try to
Or
remember.
so you don't recall
Uh,
enough, well enough to
not
say that.
not enough. I'll try to tell you what I do remember. Man, they were. It was around the car. I can't remember if the suspect, was getting out of the car, or if he was behind the car. But I think what happened was the cop was getting close to the suspect, and he might have pulled out what do you call it, a long dagger.
A
What do you call that?
machete?
A machete or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
And so he pulled out his gun and started shooting. And in America and Canada, like, a lot of people that, share our view generally, and I feel like most people do share this view in the Western world now because of just how things developed, where we go, oh no, the cop's job is to serve and protect and serve, and that should be a
Right,
last
yeah.
resort sort of
Guardians
thing.
of peace, not like soldiers. They're not
Not
soldiers. It's not supposed to be like that.
right. And I was so surprised when I look at the comments, and most of the comments were, Taiwan is too soft now. This in this instance, this was completely justified.
Yeah, so you were surprised because I'm actually not.
Well, so I've heard my dad talk about the death penalty, and obviously I'm not in Taiwan. I haven't spent that much time in Taiwan. I only hear people talk, and from what my dad has told me, he grew up in the dictatorship,
Right,
right?
the martial law times, which was a lot more authoritarian than it is now.
Much more.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. Like, it's almost black and white in the sense that, like,
Yeah, and it creates a really weird dynamic between our generation and the one before us.
yeah,
Like my wife and my mother-in-law are like on different planets, bro. Like just the
right,
way they think about things,
right.
you know, it's
And
totally different.
and that's not the case in, Canada and United States, where your parents' generation and your generation, that it wasn't that big of a difference as
Yeah,
compared
there's
to
a big
Taiwan.
difference, but it's not that big, right? It's
as
not
Taiwan.
literally like dictatorship freedom, right?
Exactly, exactly. So, my dad's generation was used to everybody fearing the cops. You don't mess with the cops.
Hmm.
If teachers can beat your kids, then cops can, shoot civilians, no
Yeah.
problem,
Hey,
right?
you better believe that was back in the day. They'd be like, if you step out of line, even teachers would be like, I'm gonna get the guns and just beat your ass.
My dad's arm got broken by the teacher. It's
Yeah, no,
it's
we've talked
harsh.
about that. Like,
Yeah. But anyway, so from what my so I remember watching Taiwanese news. It just so happened to be on, and I think one of the report was there's a drunk person sitting down on the street, and a cop comes by and says, "Hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? Do you need somebody to call you a taxi? Hey, do you want me to take you home?" And I think if I remember correctly, and obviously, human memory isn't the best, but if I remember correctly, I think I remember my dad going, "Man, what a wuss of a cop," like,
What?
am I yeah, he
But
was
see,
just
I have the opposite like thing. I'm like, that's what you should do. I don't
that
want you to
I
run up to some guy sitting on the corner who's a little drunk and start beating his ass.
well, I don't think that my dad wanted him to beat him up. I
Like
think
that's what you should do. You should be nice. You should be, hey bro, are you all right? Can I call you
yeah,
a cab? Like, do you
yeah,
need help? Like one
no,
human being to another. You don't
yeah.
run up to someone and start kicking the shit out of them.
No, no,
Like
no, no, that's not what my dad
inappropriate, dude.
yeah.
Inappropriate.
No, no, that's not what my dad wanted. It was just that he was
I think you need to clarify.
yeah, no, my dad was just like he saw this and it was just like I guess he was just thinking about the difference from when he grew up. They were not like kind sort of babysitters. And when he saw that, he was just like, wow, it's just kind of a
Oh, so
huge
you
difference.
mean like he was shocked, like, oh, because back in the day they would have gone to work on that guy.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
And my dad also talks about how, um, I guess he's just very used to the dictatorship because he left Taiwan and
Before it ended, right?
I think so. He left in, well, his
Because
parents.
it ended in stages, but like the beginning was 1987, if I remember
Okay.
correctly.
Right. So that's roughly around the time when my family started to leave.
Okay, so they were leaving just as it was ending.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I guess, my dad would tell me that cops get reported on a lot, and whenever they do something slightly out of line, they get reported on, and this kind of creates a dynamic where civilians aren't afraid of cops anymore, and cops are kind of afraid to do what cops do in the Western world because you know cop cops killing or shooting people in in the states or even in Canada is pretty common, and that's kind of
Hmm.
just kind of accepted. And I
Yeah,
think
at this point, we're not at all surprised, are we?
no, and I think that actually, we talked about how Taiwan went from a dictatorship to being free now. I think the Taiwanese people have actually done a more successful job revolting against the police to the point where things drastically changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
It's really amazing how quickly it went too. From like 1987 till now, like we've had a number of successful, peaceful transitions of power, and the cops have, become what they've become, and they're not beating people, and the military's not patrolling the streets. It's really amazing, like the speed at which that occurred.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's usually not like that, right?
Yeah.
Usually, like there's coups and there's bloody revolutions and people getting assassinated, and it's a mess. But Taiwan has managed to remain stable and peaceful, and that's really incredible.
Yeah, it makes me wonder like the KMT people if they were just like, you know what, maybe this might be the right direction and they kind of just softened themselves
I'm
cuz
sure there's a generational divide within the KMT. I think
okay.
young blue people, if they exist to any significant number, are probably a lot less authoritarian than the people who actually run that party. Because
Right.
pretty much everyone who runs that party is pretty damn old. Like,
Hmm.
you know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Like as politics tends to be. Like the people who
Yeah.
run parties tend to be old as fuck. Like
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if that means as you get older, I mean, like when you're young, you're authoritarian because you think you're idealistic, but as you enter your youth and young adulthood, you become more libertarian because you understand that's not how things work. And then is
but
it
then
is
maybe
it
you swing back. I don't know.
swing back as you get older? Oh, you know
But
what?
then we're all individuals too. Like
Yeah, yeah,
maybe it's the other way, right?
right,
Maybe it
right,
swings the opposite direction.
right.
So I don't know.
So anyway, when I was looking at the comments, there were a couple comments that said that they were basically illustrating how too many people were getting away with crime, and that when they are supposed to, when they are sentenced to death, they eventually don't get put to death because of they claim mental health, or they
Okay,
claim.
so like yeah, I kind of disagree with that viewpoint, but okay, carry on.
Okay, well, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying like what I saw in the comments.
Right.
The I I thought, so I would read one comment, and I guess I expected that to be like an isolated comment, and then I kept reading, and it was like a whole bunch of comments.
Hmm. It was the overwhelming trend.
Yeah, that was saying like too many people get away with crime, and even when we finally catch the bad guy, they get out too early. And even when we decide that what they did was deserving of the death penalty, they get off the death penalty. And I think, if my memory serves correctly, these weren't like old people. These were
Hmm.
people that were probably in their
Probably
20s and
our age,
30s.
right? Like 20s and 30s.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
was just wondering, like, what.
Does that, I mean, where do you fall? Like, does that make you uncomfortable? Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with that? Like,
Well, because I'm here in Canada, it just makes me all the more curious of why that is. I feel like if I really wanted to do an investigation, I should go there and talk to people, and find out, do more of that, right? But if I would almost okay, so here is something that I think is one of the reasons why. Taiwan is such a much more dense population than in Canada or United States, right? They have, they're fitting, what is it, like
yeah, we have
27,
23.6
23.
or 7 million people crammed into this tiny, tiny little island.
And this island is the size of Vancouver Island, where, I don't know
Is
if you
it?
even knew. Yeah,
Are you
it's like,
sure?
it's pretty close. Like, what do you think? Why are
I
you,
don't know what are the square kilometers of Taiwan and what are the square kilometers of Vancouver. I have no idea.
do you want me to do that right now?
If you want.
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Interesting factoids.
Yeah.
There you go.
So area, so that's 30. Taiwan is 36,000 kilometers squared.
Okay, and then
Vancouver Island area, 31,000.
so okay, Taiwan is bigger by what, 5,000 square kilometers?
Yeah. So slightly bigger.
Okay,
5,000. Okay, that's pretty big actually. But still,
but
like
they're comparable.
it's
Like,
they're comparable. If you look at
yeah.
it on a map, it's like, oh, that's interesting. But anyway,
So how many people reside on Vancouver Island?
I oh yeah, you'll be surprised.
So just so we get an
Seven
idea of like the density.
700 750,000.
That's it?
Not even 1 million.
That's it. You
Yeah.
don't even crack a million.
Let me do 2019 statistics.
That's wild, bro. Because even if you lower Taiwan's size to be the exact same, we would still have a shit ton more people.
Yeah. So yeah. What I said. So we go back. Oh, God. Vancouver Island population. Yeah. So 700. Oh, okay. So yeah, 750,000. Apparently, this statistic is in 2009.
Okay, so about 10 years out of date.
Yeah, but I would
Maybe you
imagine.
guys are up a bit further now.
Right, but keep in mind that Canada, which is like the second largest country in the world by landmass, has
Right, not population.
not population, but has 32 or 35 million.
Okay.
in the entire country.
Yeah, I know. No, I know.
Yeah,
It's starkly different. Like
yeah,
the density is completely different. We're living on top of each other, whereas you guys have all the space in the world.
yeah. So, well, to be fair, up north is not really habitable. It's habitable. It's like you
Well, hey,
literally.
hey, you're being unfair to everyone in Nunavut hates you right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. But my point, the reason why I bring that up is because I think, first of all, they have surveillance cameras apparently in like every street corner in Taiwan, right?
Yeah, it's quite Orwellian, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but well, yeah. So I think one of the reasons why they're more okay with the death penalty as opposed to you and I is because they're much more confident in the accuracy of the conviction because it's such a tight space and there's cameras everywhere. I feel like
You think
when
that goes to the heart of why they're okay with it or they're in favor of
just
it?
just one of the reasons because there's the there's such they're cramming so many people in such a tight space that when something happens more people are more bound to see and there's cameras everywhere. I
Hmm.
would assume that because one of the biggest reasons why people like you and I in the West are against the death penalty is because so many innocent people get put to death.
Yeah, right. So I haven't come out with my stance, but that is actually pretty much where I am at.
Yeah.
I'm not like morally or ethically opposed to the death penalty,
Mm.
right? What the reason why I'm opposed to it is because of inaccuracy and just the fact that human beings are imperfect, right? We're an imperfect people, and if you even have one person, who is innocent who gets put to death by the state, then in my mind that's not acceptable. I can't accept that.
Yeah. So I think that the belief in the Taiwanese people is a principled one and not a practical one.
Hmm.
And that again, they have more confidence in the accuracies of whether or not somebody was actually guilty,
Right.
and so they're not thinking about you know they're not thinking about the chances of this person actually being innocent or not. I feel like
Yeah, which is not good. Like you have to factor in everything. And
right,
I have to say, like, even if you do have all this network of cameras and stuff, you don't see what goes on behind closed doors, right?
right,
Like,
that's true.
so, like, you might feel good if you see something play out on a street cam, but you don't know what's going on in some big apartment building. You don't know
Yeah,
who touched who killed who did violence on who. You don't know. You have no idea.
right,
So that leaves open the possibility that you're going to convict and put to death someone who's innocent, and I can't accept that. Like that's
yeah.
not acceptable, you know?
And to be fair, I think I would hope anyway that the Taiwanese people are only um, in favor of the death penalty when they think it is blatantly obvious that that person is guilty. Like if there's like literally camera footage of somebody actually committing the crime that
Right,
they're
right.
accused of.
Okay, so there's actually two cases that I want to bring up. One of them is particularly uncomfortable because I have actually it actually is a part of my life. Like I was actually personally in this one. And then the second incident is just particularly grisly. So the first one was a number of years back, and you can Google this, and you'll find it on Wikipedia. If you look up the MRT station in Taipei or New Taipei called Jiangzitui, at Jiangzitui station a number of years ago, there was a man who got on the train and proceeded to do a mass stabbing incident. And I was on that train
Wait,
personally, and I was a part of that whole thing. Like when people were running for their lives and they were drenched in blood and people were screaming and trying to clamor to get off the train and stampede, that one of those people was me. I was running for my life, right? Because I was
wait,
on that train.
hold on. Are you talking about the rich kid that had the mental illness and he had like two machetes and
he
he was
he was definitely mentally ill. I don't know his background. I believe he was a university student, and I think he had some kitchen knives. Anyway, the point being is I was a part of that incident. So that one kind of hits home for me, right? Because that was one of the few times in my life where I felt the feeling of terror, right? And terror is like a special feeling, right? You feel like you need to like run for your life or fight for your life. You feel like you're in danger, like you could die, you know?
Yeah.
It's a very special feeling, right? It's
Yeah.
something that you don't want to ever feel again, right? And that you don't want anybody else to feel, because it's not, it's very intense, right? It's something that kind of like sticks with you for a while. And I can still remember that incident pretty clearly, right?
Was this the one in 2014?
Yeah, does it say Zhang Zitui?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
So
definitely, yeah.
he did end up killing some. He stabbed a lot of people. Some of them did end up dying,
Four people died.
unfortunately.
4 people died, 24 non-fatal injuries.
Right. Okay. So I was actually part of that. I wasn't actually physically harmed, but like I said, I was one of those people who was on the train, saw people covered in blood, saw people screaming, saw people being carried on stretchers. One of them, who I think was one of the ones who died. Right. So that one hits home for me, and I remember people getting into arguments online about what do we do with this guy,
Right.
right? Like, do we kill him? Because like, and a lot of people like, he deserves it. Fuck him. Like, you know, he did a massacre. He like killed all these people, innocent people who were just trying to get to their jobs or trying to get home, and you know, fuck him. And even though I was a part of that incident, I stuck to my principles, and I was like, we can't put this man to death, because while it may be good to remove him from the population because he's a mass murderer and he can't be reformed, right? That you're dealing with the system, you're not dealing with just individuals. And so you leave this system open where you know, there's a chance that an innocent person could end up being put to death.
I see.
Do you see what
Interesting.
I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Even though
no,
it
okay,
affected
yeah.
me personally, I was like, no, I still can't get on board.
Interesting. I mean, okay. I
So that
guess,
was one incident. There's actually two. So,
okay. But
and by
just
the way, the man who did commit that crime, and you can check, I do believe he was executed.
okay. Perpetrator at the time of attack, aftermath. This was taken for questioning, partner questioning after attack. Was detained. Trial execution. Okay,
So he was executed.
so just as Sunday's an order for Chang on May 2016 was executed on the same day. Okay.
Right. Okay. See, so it did end up going through. Um,
Okay,
and
so
look,
but
I'm not losing sleep because that guy was killed.
right.
I'm glad he's not on this earth anymore. But like I said, I'm still uncomfortable because I feel like innocent people could be put to death.
Right. Interesting. Okay, so so okay, so in this case you saw the incident, you knew he did it,
Absolutely, it's clear. There's cameras all over the train. There's cameras
right?
in the station. There's cameras everywhere. That's without a doubt he did it.
Right,
You
he
know,
did it.
100%. There's no doubt in your mind. You can
Right.
see him on the camera taking the knife and stabbing people.
Right,
It's
no,
as
but
clear as day. There's no like, oh, what
just
about this?
yeah, no. But my question is, so you know he did it without a shadow of the doubt. If you could, in your I know this it's not like I'm just gonna ask it. Like, so hypothetically, if it's an isolated incident where you're the judge, and we we can do this, we could do this once. If it were up to you, would you decide to give him the death penalty?
I'd do
If
it
we,
myself.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'd do
okay,
it
yeah,
myself. So like I said, I don't have a moral or an ethical like hang up, right?
yeah,
My hang up is with people who are innocent who might get killed, right?
okay,
So because this one particularly affected me, if you said it was, hey, we're just doing this once, this is a one-time thing, right? One and done, we never again, right? Yeah, I do it myself. Give me the gun. I'll take that fucker out back and I'll shoot him myself, right?
yeah,
I don't ever want to feel that way again. And I don't
yeah.
want, anyone
Anyone else?
else to be harmed by this guy. He doesn't belong in society. He took people's lives, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Innocent people's lives. And he ended up scarring a bunch of people too, who
yeah.
now have to walk around with these scars, like mental and physical, every single day. So fuck him. Like, he deserves it, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, I get like a little fired up. Like
No,
yeah.
no.
Like I know that he's gone, but it's upsetting, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Because like when you like, I don't know if you've ever felt that feeling, but terror really is like one of the worst. Like, you don't want to feel like that.
Yeah. I I don't think my life has ever really been um in danger like that. So, I mean, I don't know if you're comfortable with talking about it. I mean, you already did talk about it, but how did you manage to get away? Were you far away? And
So he began on one side of the train and started working his way down car by car, right?
Mm,
And people started running towards my end of the train.
right.
And at first, I was on my phone. So at first, I was like, this is weird. People don't usually move around that much, right? They usually stay in their car. And they started coming towards me. And then more started coming towards me. And then I noticed, I was like, what is that on their shirts? And then I was like, oh shit, these people are covered in blood, right? And then people start screaming. And then we pull up to Jungsatui Station and we're all crammed up against the sliding doors, right? Doors open, people rush out,
Right.
running for their lives because the people in my car have no idea. We don't know what's going on. Is there a bomb? Is there a gun? Is there a knife? Well, we have no idea, right? We don't know what is going on. We don't know why these people are covered in blood. We have no idea. We have no idea. So we're just running for our lives. And we run, run, run. We get out onto the platform, run up the stairs, get to the place where you have to beep out and do it. And people aren't even doing that. They're just hopping over. They're just jumping over the turnstile. Like, they're cramming out and they're just pushing. People are throwing their kids over to the other side and just going out, right? Because we don't know. Is the guy right behind us, right? Is he following us? Is he right behind us as we're running for our lives? We don't know.
Right.
We
Yeah.
have no idea, right? This is what I'm talking about. You feel the terror. You're like, I need to go.
Right.
Death is coming. It's coming. Run, 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 right?
So, did he wait, or was he already at the station? And when you guys, oh, he was already on the train when it was moving.
Yeah, he was on the train. Train was in transit between two stations. Like I said, he worked his way from one end of the train to the other, going
Right.
car by car, right? Stabbing,
Oh,
stabbing,
okay.
stabbing.
Right.
And we stopped at the Jiangsu station and we ran out. And then whoever was left behind was either dead or wounded or was going to be, right?
So I guess, in a sense, not to, in a sense, you were lucky that the train had just arrived at the station, right?
Yeah, look, if we were stuck between the two stations, I don't know what happens because we're all crammed
Jeez.
in there like sardines in a can.
Yeah.
And he could have theoretically just worked his way through every single person, right?
Oh my God. I mean,
I
oh,
don't know what you do. I don't know what you do. And then, of course, there's all
yeah.
these stupid, dumbass keyboard warriors who are like,
Yeah.
sounding off like, oh,
I
well,
would have
if
done
you
that
all weren't
too.
so distracted by your cell phones, you would have noticed.
Oh my
What?
God.
Excuse me? And then, the other ones, well, I would have fought back. Really, son? You would have fought back? Really?
Yeah, it's very easy for you to just,
It's so easy to say that when
yeah.
you've never felt that feeling, when you've never been in an attack, you've never been in a terrorist attack, you've never been in a mass murder and attack or anything like that. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. I
Yeah.
took pictures at the time and I uploaded it to Facebook, and I was like, nobody come to this station, right? Like, something really bad is happening. And I just got so overwhelmed, like, later afterwards, because people were saying so many stupid things, right? So many ignorant comments
In
that
English or
yeah, right. Like, on my Facebook and other people's Facebooks and public pages and stuff, that I just felt like, oh God, like, I just want to disappear. Like, I just want to delete this stuff and get away from the internet for a while because y'all just being so stupid.
so was other you were talking to other foreigners that were also living in Taiwan.
Yeah, other foreigners, other Taiwanese people
Okay.
who could converse in English or type in English, and it just got
Okay.
stupid, dude. Like, so many keyboard warriors, so many people who think they know or they think they would react some certain way, right? I
Right.
would be a hero. I would have fought back. I would have had my gun. I would have been ready, right? Like,
I you're not gonna
do you know what I'm feeling? Like, I'm just frustrated, or I was
I
frustrated.
no,
Like,
I absolutely understand. And I don't know if I should even say this, and I know because I know, especially having been in this incident, so I don't know if I should say this, but because I know you'll definitely not like it. But at the time, this was 2014. We had a tenant renting. It's actually this room that I'm living in right now. She was living here. I was living in another room at the time. And she was Taiwanese, and you could tell that she had um I don't know, just she had there was something wrong, she had some issues.
You think she had some sort of mental illness?
I don't even know if I would call it that, but like she was just off socially, in the sense that, like, I don't like this isn't the best example, but one time I finally let her in my room and we were just watching some videos, and she kind of just climbed on my bed and put her feet on my pillow.
Oh,
And I,
okay.
and I was
That's
like,
weird.
yeah, no, well, in the sense that she was lying down on her belly, and but her feet were on my pillow, and
Okay,
it's like,
okay.
yeah, it's like anybody would know that you don't want to put your feet on somebody else's pillow,
Yeah,
right?
right. That's gross, bro. Like,
And you could tell that there were things about her that were kind of off, and so we started to talk about. I showed her the short film, and it was actually about the death penalty, and I can show you later. After I showed her this film, I think I can't remember who brought this particular case up, because even I knew about this case when it came out, because it was obviously on the news, on the Taiwanese cable news in Vancouver, that was being broadcasted in Vancouver, and my dad was talking about it, and you're not going to believe this, but she said, if a society can produce somebody like that, then it's society's fault. And essentially she was saying that, yeah, I know.
what?
Yeah,
Excuse me?
yeah. It's she was
So
essentially,
all 23 points, however many people are guilty because some guy goes on a rampage?
it
Excuse me,
was,
what now?
yeah, it was pretty
What?
radical. Yeah, like she doesn't live here anymore.
Okay, great.
But anyway, so okay, yeah. So I guess even so, I guess this might be something that, we talked about the Taiwanese YouTuber or streamer, who actually used to be in like gang life.
Yeah, right. Our gym boss friend.
Yeah, gym boss. Yeah, he owns a couple of a franchise of gyms.
What's his family name? Is it Chun?
Well, I can search it up, but his nickname is Guanzang,
Okay.
meaning shop owner, right?
Right, right.
I
Okay.
can't remember his full name right now, but
Anyway, it's not important. Just
anyway,
let's stick to the topic.
yeah. So we talked about him a little bit, and we've agreed with him on a couple of issues. But when he had William Lai on, this was something that he brought up, and he I could tell that he was voicing a lot of Taiwanese people's
Like the
opinions.
public feeling.
Yeah, public feeling of, listen, there's so many times when um it's obvious that this person is guilty, and we've decided as a society that they should be put to death,
Hmm.
and they are supposedly sentenced to death, but always get away with it, and this was
Right.
kind of the
So
complaint that
would
they
it
had.
would it surprise you if I told you that there's a divide between me and my wife on this issue?
I don't know, what can you tell me a little bit
There
about
is.
it?
Well, so I mean, I maybe this kind of fits into this whole debate because, right, I'm the guy who was raised in the West. Like, we both live here. We're both a part of this society, right?
Yeah,
And it's been this way for a long time now. But right, I was raised in the West, right?
yeah,
And I have that more of that mindset, and I'm against the death penalty. She
yeah,
was born and raised here, and she's only ever lived here, and she's for the death penalty,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
we're in the same age group, right? We're in the same generation and all that stuff. So there is, I think, there is a overwhelming, as in the United States, there's an overwhelming feeling of the death penalty is a good thing, and we should have it.
In the United States.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the death penalty is one of the few issues where, like, I think in the United States, where it's like overwhelmingly people are in favor of that, and it's something that I'm opposed to. Like, a lot of the things that I think I'm in favor of are actually pretty damn popular if you strip away partisan labels. You know what I mean?
Can you give me an example?
Like, well, money in politics, for example. Like, no, if you frame it in a partisan way, then yeah, like you're going to get a lot of people on the right or the left saying no. But if you just say like across the board, no money in politics, no George Soros from the left, and no Koch brothers from the right, no big money. Like it's all just one person, one vote, and none of us are allowed to use our money to try and gain more influence unfairly, right?
Yeah.
Then it's probably has like a huge broad appeal. I think, right? Like you get a lot of people from every direction who are like, yeah, no money in politics, right?
Yeah. So I think that, and hopefully, so okay, the reason I guess the driving factor behind like the Taiwanese people is they're primarily concerned with, well, for
I
what,
see. Here's what my wife said. Can I
yeah,
just interject
please
really
go ahead.
quick? So here's what my wife said. She's like, he committed. Hey, keep it down, guys. A little too loud. Okay. All right. Sorry. So sorry about that.
No problem.
I don't know how loud they're coming through.
No.
Can you hear a lot?
Don't worry about it. Keep going.
Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, two little kids, guys. I apologize.
No,
My sons are between 2 and 4, so
it's all good.
cut them some slack, please. Anyway, she feels like, why should we have to house these terrible people who've done these horrible, gruesome things, house them for the rest of their lives and waste our tax money to give them clothes and food and shelter and all that stuff for the rest of their lives? Just take the garbage out back and put a bullet in his head and be done with it.
And what did you
Right?
say?
They feel that way. They're like, these people are guilty. They've done the worst things. Just get rid of them. Just get rid of them. Right?
And what
It
did you?
shouldn't be on the taxpayers to support them.
Yeah. And what did you say?
Well, I made my argument maybe a little too long-windedly that, right, like the problem is that you're dealing with systems. You're not dealing with individuals. And if you have this system, there's the potential, and it's happened a lot in the United States. I don't know if it's happened very much here in this current democracy era, but it's happened a lot where you get innocent people who were put to death.
Yeah.
Right?
This is kind of irrelevant, but do you have these serious conversations with your wife in English or in Mandarin?
A bit of both, right?
Okay.
Like probably primarily English, but if there's a word that she can't figure out, like we can try to figure it out together, or like I can use the Chinese that, or excuse me, the Mandarin that I know to like help move the conversation along a little bit faster, right?
How would you rank her English? Just curious.
Um, I'm actually pretty proud of her.
Oh yeah.
She'd probably blush if I talked about her like this, but she's like a self-starter. Like she saved her money and
Hmm.
she wanted to learn English, and so she paid her own way to go to like an adult's bushiban so she could learn English on her own.
Oh wow.
And so she picked it up that way, and then through life experience and online and through media, right?
Does she watch American shows?
She watches movies and stuff in English,
Right.
right? And from the time that I've met her, you know, all these years that we've been married and we have kids now, her English is like amazing compared to what it used to be, right?
Right on.
And it's all just happened through like natural immersion, right?
Right. Right on. Um. So yeah, back to the topic.
I wish I was that motivated. I'll just say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I know. Me too.
Shout
Trust me.
out.
um. Yeah. I don't want to like kind of blanket statement, the Taiwanese people and say that they're not thinking about the practicalities of it.
Yeah, that's not fair. I mean, we're all individuals, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
And there
guess
are people here who oppose this. I think
right.
notably, I think if you were like Freddie Lim, for example, who heads the New Power Party or who used to head the New Power Party, who's the heavy metal rocker who got in politics. Do
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
He used to be part of Amnesty International, and so I can almost guarantee that he's against the death penalty.
yeah. I mean,
But he's in the extreme minority. Like the death penalty is extremely popular here, and I don't see it going away anytime soon.
Interesting. I mean, I can only say in the meantime, hopefully they make sure they get the right guy. I mean, that's all.
Yeah,
Like,
see, so in these two cases, so in the one that I was involved in, clear video evidence, nothing to worry
right,
about, right? I
yeah.
guess. Unless you're like, I don't know, unless you're religious and you have some kind of issue, right? Um,
Why?
and
Why?
then in this other incident,
You go ahead.
so the second incident that I want to bring up, just because I remember it so well, seeing it in the media, and it's particularly sad. There was a little girl and her mom who were taking a walk up in Nehu district in Taipei City. And this man, this insane man, had like a meat cleaver, I think, right? Like you would use for cooking, like a meat cleaver.
Mm.
And he ran up and he grabbed up the little girl who was on her tricycle or something. He grabbed her up and he decapitated her. He cut her head off.
Oh my God, I know about this
And
one.
she was, God, dude, this one hit me so hard because, I have two sons, I have two little boys, and this girl must have been like 3 or 4,
Yeah,
right? So it's like just like this, like this sweet little girl, totally innocent, never done anything bad in her life, right? Like a child, right?
yeah,
Like I don't know about you, but like in my mind, like there's a few groups of people that are like things are sacred. Like that's you don't touch that. You don't ever hurt these people, right? They're sacred. They're
yeah,
to be protected, right?
yeah, yeah,
And children is one of them. So like it was so gruesome, right? And it was so sad because she had her whole life ahead of her,
yeah.
just a sweet little girl had her whole life ahead of her, and then this maniac grabs her up. Her mom's there too. Her mom tried to rush, but she was too slow to get there, and she couldn't have overpowered this man. And he just cut her head off, and yeah, it was horrible. It was just the whole thing was horrible.
I guess we can understand that it's cases like this that make the death penalty so popular, right?
Yeah,
And
and I had this debate again when that happened with other people in the foreign community here who were just as outraged as the Taiwanese. And we're like, man, fuck this guy's an animal. We should treat him like an animal. We should put him down, right? He killed this sweet little girl, and we should, man, if I could, I would tear him limb from limb. I would do it myself, right? Like we had
mm,
so many people like that, and again, I was the one of maybe like 3 guys who was like, no, you guys are wrong, man. You're wrong. You're just wrong. Like I understand the feeling. I feel just the same as you do, but you're wrong. Like if you uphold this system, you're wrong.
so I guess let me ask you this then. Like, so we're both generally against the death penalty. What would you have done with this guy, or what? Yeah, you
Well,
know what I
what
mean.
what I would do in every single case, right? Because what you're dealing with is not individuals. You're dealing with systems, right?
Right,
You're dealing with the legal system.
right,
So my thing is like obviously these people are non-reformable. They don't
mm,
go back, right?
yeah,
They're a danger now and forever. Like murder is one of those things that is you don't get a second chance, right?
yeah,
It's one and done,
yeah.
right? One strike, you're out. So life imprisonment, that's it. You get life imprisonment for the rest of your life. You get to be kept in this tiny, teeny, tiny cell with minimal lighting and with the shittiest of all shitty food. And you get to sit there and think about what you've done and from now until the day that you die.
Okay, yeah, and I
Like that's
guess
just my thing, right? And I don't see what the big deal is there because that's quite a heavy punishment. And also that I think that it actually ends up coming out cheaper if you're considering it from an economic standpoint, because all these appeals and all this court dates and all this stuff with the lawyers and the judges, all those people's got to get paid, right?
hmm.
And if you just take that out and just say whatever, just put the guy in jail for life, then you don't have to deal with that. You don't have to spend money on all that stuff.
Yeah, no, that is
Do you feel
another.
me? Like I don't know if you agree with me, and you don't have to agree with me. We
No,
can
no, no, no.
disagree. In fact, it'll probably make people happier if we disagree. But
No,
um,
well, no, I know all these arguments, right? Like I know that it's, I've heard the argument that it is cheaper to, or that it is more expensive to execute somebody because you need to, like you said, all the processes, and you keep them on death row for sometimes 5, 10, 15 years before
yeah, it
they
can go on
actually
for
get
decades. It can go on for decades.
decades before they even get executed. So yeah, and I guess when you say just put them in life in prison, I can already hear like Taiwanese people going, so we're gonna feed them for the rest of
Right, like
his life.
what my
He's
wife said, like
Yeah,
why the hell should our money go towards feeding this son of a bitch? Like he should be killed.
yeah. And you've made it clear that, of course, if we live in a perfect world,
Right, yeah,
you
and I wrote this at the time on Facebook. I was like, "Hey, listen everybody, before you decide to attack me, right?
yeah,
Remember that if we lived in a perfect world and we weren't like, fallible humans,
yeah,
that I would do it myself. I don't have any hang up about it. Like,
yeah,
give me the gun, give me the bullet. I'll do it myself. Like this guy's the worst of the worst. I feel better if he's not here.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't know. Do you feel the same way? Like, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I feel like I feel like, and it's not something that I'm necessarily. I don't know if I'm like I I feel like I'm sometimes maybe perhaps too much of a pacifist, and it may be because I haven't experienced what you've experienced. Maybe if I saw something like this firsthand, then maybe I'd
Maybe
probably
you would
change my
flip.
mind. Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's not like I've never felt rage before. I have.
No, yeah, no, we
You
all
know.
have, but right, like it's a different, like I said, it's a different thing. Terror is a different feeling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
totally different feeling. But what is your main hang up, right? Because I've stated mine. Like, do you have is it a religion thing? Is it a moral ethical thing? Or are you just worried about the innocence?
Why I'm against it?
Yeah,
Death
like
penalty?
why do you
Yeah.
come out on the side that you do? Because I've explained myself. I just wonder what you have to say about that.
I guess so. We talked about this in high school, and one of the I was in AP psychology. Yeah, I was in AP psychology. I I didn't do well in school in general that year. But anyway, the teacher showed us a small documentary about how easy it is for the jury to get it wrong. And they demonstrated that by they staged an incident in a crowded place, in a public crowded place, where they had somebody uh just steal something from a man. And once he did that, there was a there were all these actors, right? One woman screamed, another person threw their hands up, and all these things. And then they started to interview the people. They took them aside, and they were like, we're going to ask you a few things about what just happened here. Was the person that took the wallet black or Caucasian? Was the person that screamed, was she wearing red or blue? Well, all these questions, and a
So
lot
okay,
of
I
them.
think hold on. So
Yeah,
I think I know where this is going, right?
yeah.
So
Go
they
go ahead.
stage this attack, right? And it's all very clear, and then they let the people see it, right?
Yeah,
And then what? So they just start asking a number of like just factual questions that you should be able to give a very clear either yes or no, or a very just clear like quick description, right?
yeah,
Like man or woman,
yeah,
tall or short, right? Fat or thin, right? Like
yeah,
things like that, very clear.
yeah.
And what they ended up getting it wrong, so it
A
just
lot
shows
of yeah,
that we're
exactly.
fallible and we just our memories are just not what we think they are. And
Yeah, and it was, even the people that were watching the video, obviously, the scene plays over. They ask the questions, and people in the class are writing down their answers, right? And people in the class got it wrong.
mm-hmm,
Obviously, the teacher didn't let us pause and rewind, right? We just saw it once, and we had
mm-hmm.
to answer these questions, and a lot of the students got it wrong. And
Isn't
so
that amazing? Because I
yeah,
don't, there's no way, like, they weren't doing that on purpose, right? They were all
yeah,
probably like you. They were probably trying their best to just answer the questions,
yeah, and
and they just couldn't get it right.
yeah, they were all brought into a courtroom, and sat each other down. They discussed it, and in the end, they showed them what the answer actually was. They played the tape, and they were all really surprised, and all these people were like, "Wow!" Like, I could have sworn on my life that I gave the right answer, and it was
Mm-hmm.
wrong. And so that was one of the reasons why I was like, okay, yeah, no, that to if somebody's
You
life
just can't. Like human beings are just not. We're not perfect. We're just
if
not.
if somebody's life is on, depending on that, when it's already proven how just just unreliable these testimonies are, I was like, yeah, that's such a slippery slope. And
Yeah. So was that it? You're like, that's it. End of. Like, I can't
that
do it.
that
Like,
was a big factor. And
okay.
obviously I found the a website that was, I guess the website was biased. They were against the death penalty, but they listed 10 reasons why, reasons to be against the death penalty. And one of the reasons why was it actually costs more. So I obviously, you're thinking about it in all sorts of ways, principle, practicality, how accurate is it, how much it costs, just everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, it's more expensive to execute someone than to keep them life in prison. And I don't know, that's kind of where my mind is at. I mean, I guess there might be, and maybe it's the kid and me, where I've seen TV shows about how, like, Superman wants to save even the most horrible person, and what it means to save them is to save them from themselves and find the little speck of good in them, and to hopefully foster that and hopefully change them, and it's all really idealistic. And I I guess I'm lucky that I've never really had to deal with what you had to deal with. So maybe I'm just too naive and idealistic. That's really all I can say about that.
Okay. I mean, so, oh gosh. All right. So I guess one question from when I was having these debates back in the day on Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, so I think one of my friends said, so theoretically, if in the future, right, we had much better technology, and we amended the law to the point where we could only implement the death penalty right after we had a court case, and only if we had the 100% clear cut video evidence, would you be okay with it? And I think I said yes,
Hmm.
right? But like, obviously, that's not the world we live in now, and I'm not sure that's a world we could ever live in. But if we could have a thing like that, if we'd had the law where it said, look, only it's not even like shadow of a doubt. It's like there's no shadows at all. Like it's 100%. Like you have the video, you see the guy, and the guy's kills the person, and it's all very clear. Like there's no doubt about it, right? Would you be okay with having the death penalty or like the that system existing if it was only in cases like that?
Yeah. So yeah, the question is, if we lived in a perfect world and we knew for ten
But
thousand
not
percent.
not in a perfect world, but just in a world where we only implemented this when we had perfect evidence, I would say. Let's call it
Mm,
that. Let's call it perfect evidence, right?
right.
Like we had technology that was so good, we had cameras that were so good that if we had cases like that where we had the perfect footage and we could watch it, would you be okay with convicting and sentencing that person to death?
I mean, also, two things I want to say about that. One is, I don't know if you know what deepfakes are.
I don't.
So, oh God, you're talking about how in the future, where technology becomes much more advanced. So there are, it's basically, I don't know if AI has anything to do with it, but it's
Are you
basically,
talking when they can cut a person's face and they
yeah,
put it on someone else's body and it
yeah.
looks it's gotten to the point where it looks so real that you can't tell?
It just makes it so easy to frame someone.
Oh, damn. See, dude, that's what I see. That's what
Yeah,
I'm that I didn't even consider that. I didn't even
yeah,
consider that. So, yeah, even then, see, even if you do get the advance in technology, then it's canceled out.
yeah, exactly.
It's canceled out.
It's
Like you can't even rely because what if somebody made the video to frame this guy?
and it's frightening. Yeah, it's scary.
Frighteningly
Yeah, yeah, you got
frighteningly,
it. Yeah,
right?
uh, uh,
Common, right?
accurate. No,
Yeah.
accurate. How it's scary. How, like, it just looks like there was a deep fake where somebody made
Yeah, they
Obama.
already do that with like, yeah, they've done it with politicians, and they do it
Yeah,
with people that they don't like. They'll take a.
yeah,
It happens to women a lot. Like they'll take a woman that they don't like and they'll put her in a porno,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Celebrities had that.
Yeah.
Female celebrities had that. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and Obama too. I forgot what he made. They made him say, but it
Oh
was
God, I
I
hope they
feel
don't
like
put Obama in a porno.
oh
Oh
God,
my.
no, no, no. He is yeah. That would be yeah. I don't know who's into that, but
Oh my God. Oh,
yeah.
presidential porn.
Oh God. Oh God. Yeah. I'm
Gonna
just
take you
imagine.
to gonna take you to the Oval Office, baby.
Oh Jesus. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I
Joe
ruined it,
Biden.
didn't I? I ruined it.
Yeah.
The whole thing was serious, and I just ruined it. Oh God! And then here comes Uncle Joe.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that. I was gonna.
Oh no!
Yeah.
It's a threesome.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Anyway.
my eyes are burning.
Anyway. But yeah, like I forgot what the speech that the guy made Obama say, but it was just him in his suit, and he had his this thing that he does, and
Yeah, that thing, that annoying thing they do.
yeah. Well, you know what? I actually do that too because I don't
Do you
want to like.
really?
Oh, I don't want to point at someone,
You
so I
know where
just
that
end up.
comes from, though? That comes
No.
from they get intense coaching from these political advisors or operatives about how to speak, how to move, how to do everything. They tell them, don't do this
Yeah. Yeah.
and don't even do that because that's too aggressive. That's
Yeah.
too
Yeah. Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Soften it. Do the thumb
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
fist and do it
Yeah.
like that, right?
Well, okay. I didn't get it from any coaching or anything
And
like
to
that.
me,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, that's so gross. It's like
Oh
this
yeah.
nimby pimby thing. Like it's not even you. Like
Yeah.
you learned it from this fake like coach that's like trying to make you something you're not, right?
Hmm.
Like you fake robot you.
Oh,
Like,
okay. So
not
yeah,
you,
yeah.
but the
I know.
politicians who do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what if Biden or what's that guy's name, Booty Judge comes
Oh
out
yeah.
and he goes like that, right?
You
Then
just
I'm like,
lost my vote.
yeah, you just lost my vote, dude. You're gross. You're fake. Like, get out
Yeah.
of here. Just talk to me like a normal person. Don't do all this coaching and all this nonsense.
Yeah. I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, but so with the advent in technology, it doesn't even help.
Yeah, you're right. It cancels out, dude. You checkmated me on that
Yeah,
one.
checkmate. Yeah.
You got me, dude. You got me good. So yeah, I
So
guess that's it. I mean, there's nothing more to say except I don't know. I don't see it changing anytime soon. What about you?
yeah, no, I mean, so I'll there's a couple things that I'll send you, and I think that you'll really like it. One is a short film, and one is a debate that David Pacman, right?
Yeah, yeah, I enjoy Pac-Man. He's not my favorite, but he's one of
Yeah.
in a series of people that I like to watch.
So there was a Republican, ex-Republican guy that I was following, that I thought was actually kind of pretty reasonable. Oh, I think I showed you some of his videos, Colin Moriarty, and I showed you one of
Oh
his
yeah,
videos
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I was gonna
So
say like you got to shout the name out, like.
yeah, Colin Moriarty.
Hmm.
And he actually, yeah, I think I might have been one of the people I tweeted at them, and they actually responded, and they actually ended up Colin ended up going on David Pacman's show, and they had a little debate, very
Hmm.
civilly. So I really respect that part. But one of the topics that they debated on was the death penalty. So I'll show you that afterwards. But Colin's father was one of the firefighters in New York City when 9/11 happened, and
Hmm.
they lost a lot of people. He knew a lot of people that died on 9/11, and he attended a lot of those funerals.
So
And
he's very
so,
deeply personally affected by all of it.
yeah, and I don't know if you want me to spoil the debate, but
No, go ahead. Like let's just air it out because
sure. So David Pacman was essentially saying, what do we lose from? They were talking about the leader of Al Qaeda, who what's his name? Leader of Al
Osama
Qaeda,
bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden. Pacman was saying, what does society lose if we just keep him in a prison and no chance of getting out? And maybe sometimes we ask him about things that might help us, prevent other attacks or
Oh,
whatever it
like
is.
intelligence gathering.
Intelligence and gathering. And Colin's answer was basically, um, it's not really a good answer, but he said, catharsis, like,
Yeah, dude, you're not convincing me with that. Like, so what,
no,
you
yeah,
personally, you feel good for a minute? Like,
yeah,
yeah, you're not really getting me with that one, you know?
yeah. No, I didn't think that. I was on David Pakman's side on this one, but
Hmm.
it was just a really civil interview that they did, and I was pretty impressed on like how civil it was, and so that's why I brought it up. But yeah, I feel like that's very similar to why a lot of Taiwanese people feel about the death penalty too. It's like this feeling of justice, like this was the
Yeah,
right
I
thing to do.
understand, right? Like I don't know, like if you were the mom or the dad to the little girl, right, that,
Yeah,
that we were talking about, then yeah, you probably would feel for, however long that, yeah, good justice, right?
yeah. So we've kind of concluded that even in the future, when technology gets to really good, it doesn't
Yeah, it's
really.
not viable. It's just not viable.
So when you asked me that question, right? I First of all, I'm not someone that believes in free will. I think that there's quite a bit of evidence, and I read a book that was making the case against it, and anyway, in a perfect world, if because we've concluded that we can, it's hard to be always certain like 100%. In a perfect world, while we're keeping them in prison, whether or not this country has the death penalty, let's say that they do or they don't, but in the meantime they're in prison, whether it's life in prison or they're just on death row. In a perfect world, I would hope that, like we talked about, technology doesn't help in this instance, but hopefully we improve in our understanding of human psychology and psychiatry and stuff
Mm.
like that. Hopefully, I would say more on the psychology side, we can understand how a normal person with a nuclear family, everything seemingly going well, how a person like that would turn out into somebody that commits, something as atrocious as murder or
Yeah,
rape.
okay. So I think I know where you're going, right? Like
So
I think, yeah, and this is a good place to end.
yeah,
Is I think you'll agree with me that oh my God, there's such a big problem with mental health.
yeah,
And like I probably everywhere across the first world industrialized countries, but particularly here in Taiwan, like mental health is such a problem. And maybe like what I would want to see would probably be that not just that we stop the death penalty, but that even if we can't achieve that, that we need to start like getting serious about mental health. We need to start addressing that, because maybe if we start addressing that and we start like getting serious about that, then maybe we won't have these cases at all. Like we won't have to deal with these cases in the first place. Like
yeah,
that university kid will never get to that point where
yeah,
he takes the knife and he attacks people on the train,
yeah.
right? If we start taking mental health seriously.
Yeah, essentially what I was getting at was hopefully in the future, as time moves forward, we get better at prevention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
prevention. We need to get people help. We need to get them medications. We need to get them talk therapy. We need to get them all kind of things, right?
yeah.
We need to get the stress down. It's like there's so many. It's very complicated, and I don't want to turn the podcast into a mental health thing, but like yeah, it's incredibly important, and I want to go in that direction. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, needless to say that well, in my opinion, the Asians aren't taking mental health as seriously as I think they should. But
Oh my God, no.
also my second point, prevention, and then the second point might not be as popular, but in a, if we can find a way to actually rehabilitate someone and make them better. I know that people will say like, oh, so they get to have this care by psychologists and psychiatrists that make them better on behalf of the taxpayer dollars. We're paying for him to get better, but we still lost the lives that he ended.
So wait. Hold on. Who are we paying to help? Are we paying to help people who just need some help, or are
No,
we
no, no,
paying
I'm
to help
talking.
people who have already committed crimes?
Yeah, the people who already committed the crime.
Oh,
Like,
because that's different, right? Because if we're doing prevention, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it, right? Like we should definitely do that. But like I said before, if we're dealing with somebody who's already done a massacre or murder, then I'm done with you. Like
yeah,
I'm not I'm not on board with wasting any money trying to get this fool some talk therapy.
right. Well,
Maybe we disagree on that. That's okay. It's okay.
no, okay. So, well, that just reminds me of a third thing that I wanted to show you. But anyway, yeah. So it's so I'll kind of explain my rationale for that, right? It's kind of like, and I guess I kind of had this opinion when I was in high school, and maybe I was much more
Hold
naive.
on. Can you just pause?
Go
Like I
ahead, go ahead,
gotta.
go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I gotta keep talking, but I gotta go to the bathroom. My bladder's
It's
gonna
okay.
burst
I'm
from
gonna
all the
search
beer.
something up. Go ahead. Go
But
ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
keep talking to the people for a minute.
No
I'll
problem.
be
No
right
problem.
back, guys. Sorry. Bathroom break. Bathroom break.
Yeah.
Pause.
Iceman interview with psychiatrist. So I'm gonna search something up and see if I can pull something up for you guys to check out. Here.
Still live. Keep it down.
Okay, so right here is where I wanted to show you guys.
Okay.
You back? Do you hear me? You hear me?
All right. Yeah. Hey guys,
Okay.
I'm back.
So
Sorry about that little bathroom break. So
do you hear this video playing?
it's not playing. It's playing now, but I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't hear anything?
Yeah. Hey, let's be careful. I don't want to get any copyright strikes or
Oh, okay.
anything.
Um,
Let's just be really cautious.
okay. I will just
Maybe just show the image, and then maybe if you can just explain it, just because I'm really worried about copyright.
okay. I'll just show this. Well, okay. You see the title of the video, and
Mm-hmm.
this, and I'll let you guys search it on yourself. But um, so this guy is the Iceman. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No. Explain.
He's one of the uh, biggest mass murderers of all time in the United States.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the reason why he's called the Iceman is because it's almost as if he's cold blooded and he can just kill without a conscience. He just keep on killing. I think his death count was like 200 or something.
Oh God, that's insane.
Yeah. And so this is him. He's in prison for life, and he's being interviewed by the psychiatrist. And so, throughout the entire, this is a 2 hour and 20-minute documentary. And for the most part, the psychiatrist has been doing most of the talking. And eventually, the psychiatrist says, well, why don't we turn the tables around? Why don't you ask me a question? And this was like, 2 hours out of him asking the psychiatrist asking Iceman questions,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Iceman was like very surprised. He just goes, "Wow, interesting." And I could already kind of know what he was thinking. Like he was thinking, like, "Wow, like nobody's ever wanted to give me the time of day,
Yeah.
or
Nobody ever bothered to ask me what I think.
yeah, like nobody like because that to ask somebody what they think is kind of to that's already a sign of respect that I
Yeah,
care.
validation, right? It's
Validation.
validation, right? Like you matter enough that I want to know.
Yeah. And so, this whole 2 hours of the psychiatrist asking him, these questions, um, the Iceman basically asked him, "So what do you, he struggled to ask this question, but he stared at him, right? And he asked, and to see if the psychiatrist was serious about, letting him ask a question. And he said, "Well, what do you think about me?" And so the psychiatrist goes on to give this explanation, um, basically that there are some people that are born with this fearless factor. I will stop sharing the screen so you can see me talk.
Okay.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Okay, no, it's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Um, so
Thank
there's some
you, by the
people.
way.
Yeah,
That guy's face is a little bit
yeah.
creepy.
No, so there are some people that are born with this fearless factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he was saying that there can be, many people that are born with this fearless factor, but when you're someone that is born with this fearless factor and you have two parents that love each other and love you, and they're, a healthy nuclear family, and they have support and they talk things out and all these things, generally these people with this fearless factor that have this healthy family and, loving upbringing, they become firefighters, policemen, adrenaline junkies.
Mm.
They join the military.
Yeah, right. Navy SEALs, SAS,
They
whatever.
they do very impressive but dangerous sports, like, I don't know, what they do in Spain with the ox, and the
Yeah, the running the
mo-
bulls
running
or
balls,
anything, rock climbing, whatever. Like,
rock climbing, monster, whatever it is, right?
mm.
But then people that are born with this fearless factor, but have abusive parents, or they had, rape as a kid, or both, if
Then
both
they end
parents,
up doing terrible things, huh?
they, yeah, they, with this, what they do with this fearless factor is, because they didn't have this love in their childhood or upbringing, they have a trouble connecting with people because they didn't even connect with their parents.
Right. So like what, like a social autism, maybe.
Well, yeah, so like the people that.
Like they just can't relate to others very
Right.
well.
Right. There's no connection because, he said, like, wow, like nobody's ever asked what I think. He's never gotten a validation from anyone, and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
so what he does with this fearless factor is, it doesn't matter when he kills someone, because he doesn't really,
He can't relate to other people. Like
he
he
doesn't
can't
have
relate
that
to other human
connection.
beings.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't have that connection of what the other person is feeling.
Right, right, right.
And
So
so,
like what it can go one of two ways. So
yeah,
like if you have the love and you have the good family and the upbringing, then it can go into the way of, he could be like a Medal of Honor, like Navy SEAL, right?
yeah.
A hero. And if he doesn't, then it could go the other way. You can become the Iceman.
Yeah, exactly. So, to be honest, okay, so this documentary, I think there's a movie done about him too, that Captain America played his psychic or whatever. He was in the movie. But anyway, this guy, I think, was in jail by the 80s or 90s. And so this documentary was done in the 80s or 90s. And when I see this documentary done in the 80s and 90s, I already see the answer of how, generally speaking, of how we can prevent people from turning out like this, right?
Mm.
You don't have kids if you're not going to take the time to make sure that they're emotionally taken care of as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Things like that, right?
Yeah, there's so many things that we need to do, right? That we need to get better at.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so like what do you want Taiwan to do, or what do you want maybe even what would you want even like the Taiwanese or Chinese community in Canada to do better, or like to improve on, or to try to implement to help this, right? So it never happens again, or we could at least reduce the number.
Well, first of all, it's not
What should we do, you know?
right. First of all, it's not obviously just exclusive to, the Taiwanese or Chinese, right?
No, but I
Obviously,
mean, but the
in
reason
this
I
scenario,
don't mean to like to
I
single
know.
out, but I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
saying because our
yeah,
podcast
yeah,
is based around Taiwan, and it's based around Canada, right? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I'm. That's because that's
yeah.
what we're based around. So that's what I want to talk about.
Right,
So
right. No, I was in
by no means am I saying that only these people have this problem. No way. Of course not. It's
no, no.
everywhere.
I'm not.
Don't.
I
Oh,
wasn't
here we
implying
go.
that.
They're gonna call me racist now.
I wasn't implying that. No,
Okay.
no. The
Look, that's
reason,
not what I'm saying. That's
yeah,
not what I'm saying.
no,
Everybody knows that. That's not what I'm
yes,
saying.
yeah. Don't worry about it. The reason why I brought that up was because I think the answer is also universal with other people in the sense that the reason why I'm confident with my answers is because of these things that I've seen. It's this documentary, and I grew up watching the show Smallville, and I guess I'll very quickly talk about why that is important. Very quickly. So I don't know if okay. So I was talking to this with a friend of mine 2 days ago, but basically there are two families that are demonstrated in the show Smallville. There is a guy that was born and raised in poor slums of the city, and he grew up in gang life, and he actually eventually partnered with a guy to murder his parents in order to get the life insurance money to start a company that he used to eventually become CEO. And this is the father of Lex Luthor.
Oh, I was gonna say, is this Lex Luthor's story?
No, yeah, well, no, this is his father's story. So when his
Okay.
father was a kid,
And this is the example of how it goes wrong, right?
right? And so his father obviously didn't connect with his parents, and
Mm-hmm.
how he views his child is, you are my heir, you represent me, you represent my company, you represent my family's reputation, and that's what you are, and that's what your purpose is, right? So the other family is, the husband is born and raised on a farm, he does chores, and
Clark Kent.
he's his father, Clark Kent's father.
Okay.
um and the mother is a city girl, but she's well off, but she meets this farm boy, and she decides to give up the rich life and moves away from the city to live on a farm with this guy, and they really want kids, they really love each other, they talk everything out, but she's biologically barren, she can't have children, but she really wants children, not for any ulterior motive, but for the sole purpose of giving her entire life to love another being, right?
Okay.
And
Right.
so
So Dan's basically explaining the Superman origin stories.
right, so it's two, as you can probably tell, it's two polar opposite scenarios, right?
Right, right. By
And
the way, I
so,
love that you're dorking out and you're nerding out as hard as
oh
I
yeah,
am.
absolutely,
me
absolutely,
me with my flags and Dan with his superheroes.
yes, yes,
Right?
yes.
We're both
And
dorks.
right. And so Superman, comes flying as an infant, and the couple raises him, and eventually Lex Luthor and Clark Kent, they meet as teenagers, and they grow up, and they eventually become enemies.
Right, they become a nemesis, and right, and so that's your example, right? Like Clark had the love,
Yeah.
and he had the family structure, and Lex didn't have that, and he went the other way, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. And so eventually Lex kills his father, and Clark Kent asks his friend, how could Lex have done it? How could
Oh, you mean how could Lex have led a different life? Like how could we have made it come out like in
no,
a
no,
good
no, no,
way?
no, no. How could Lex have killed his father?
Oh, you mean
It,
how could he do such a horrible thing?
right. And
Okay.
he said, how does a son murder his own father? And Clark Kent's best friend jumps in and says, total absence of love. Some say that's a
That's what I was gonna
definition.
say, dude. That's what I was gonna say. There's no love there. Where's the
Total.
love? Like,
Yeah. Well, let me finish the quote. Total absence of love. Some say that's the definition of evil. And so it's implying that evil
mm,
is kind of born out of this environment and this psychology where
God
there's a
damn, dude, that's so deep right there. Even
total
though it comes from like
absence.
a comic book thing, it's so deep.
Hey man, storytelling is storytelling.
That shit is fucking that's deep though, right there, dude.
I'll send you
That
this.
even that makes me think of that's okay, but that makes me think of that kind of makes me think, oh, I hate to bring this up. Why does he always come up? But that makes me think of Hitler.
Oh, Yeah,
It
I
always comes
mean,
back to that. I hate saying Hitler, but yeah, Hitler. Here we go again with the Hitler.
I don't know what his relationship was
Because
with
the
his
way
parent.
I understand it is Hitler's father was quite a brute. Like he was very hard and tough and strict and not loving.
Mm.
And but his mom was loving. Like I think he had a very loving relationship with his father, or excuse me, with his mother. And then he ended up losing his mother. And then so like she was the only one who loved him. And then maybe that's why Hitler turned out to be such an evil fuck, right?
He also got rejected from art school,
Right. He got the rejection from the art school, right?
and he thought,
He
well,
grew up in that time after World War One when Germany was totally humiliated, and right. There's a lot of other factors, but yeah, I think there's a factor of that too. Like he didn't get love, right? Like that's part of why he turned out to be so horrible and evil.
yeah, yeah. I guess the whole like rejection from art school thing is like,
Yeah,
oh,
rejection, a lack of love.
if I can't vent myself through art, then I'm gonna vent myself through the military, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
well, that's all do it through politics, and then his politics got really ugly, you know.
yeah, yeah. So I guess to kind of you know going back to um the psychological care of the people who've already committed the crime. That might be something that we disagree on. I guess the I guess two things that come to mind. One being, I don't know, if on the off chance, he's in prison and he has the psychologist that he's seeing once a week, and on the off chance that he escapes prison, hopefully by that time he's become somewhat better. This is all idealistic, but it's just like, if he escapes, hopefully he's become just a little better to the point where, well, all right, maybe I won't do that. I just want to escape and live my life, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to. Second thing being, on a principle level, yes, and innocent people were killed. We still have this person that is very, very troubled.
Mm-hmm.
If we can I'm just thinking about it in
Can we ever really truly get a person who does something like that to the point where where it's appropriate to release them and they won't be a harm to society?
well, I'm not even talking about releasing them. I'm not even talking about, even if they become completely uh recovered or whatever. I'm not even saying that we should release them, right? I'm just saying,
You're just saying, should we provide them psychological care?
well, I don't, okay, when you frame it like, should we? I automatically think about like the economics of it. What I'm thinking about is like, just on a numbers basis. Like, we have this many bad people on Earth, this many good people on Earth. If we could just transfer some of those numbers from the bad side to the good side, why not? That's if
Okay, I mean that's not a bad thing to say, obviously, right? But what is I don't know, like what is what is the utility of doing that? What is the utility of transferring over like this tiny minuscule number, right, of these guys who did these things?
like, how do we do it? Is that what you
No,
mean?
but like what is like what do we get out of it, right? Like
Oh,
what good comes from that, right? If like what so there's like I don't know, like maybe 30 guys total or something that we have and we end up helping them and transferring them to the other side of the cosmic yin
spectrum.
yang, right? Like
Yeah.
the spectrum, like what I don't know, like what are we getting out of that? Why should we do that? I don't know.
I guess, I don't know. I mean,
What is the utility of such exercise? Like why should we do that? Why should we put resources to that?
yeah. And again, you're obviously being very practical and thinking about like the
Yeah, I think
resources.
I'm just trying to be like logical and
Yeah,
practical about it, right? Like we have limited resources, how do we use them, right?
right. And that's kind of where the argument falls. Well, I mean, yeah. If we add that into the equation, that's when I go, okay, fine. If we have limited sources, then maybe I should just shut up about what I'm thinking right
No, I
now.
didn't I didn't say you
But
should shut up. I would never
yeah,
tell you to shut up, like just to
no,
be clear.
I don't know.
I'm
That's
expressing
yeah.
concern. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. No, no. All that I was saying was if I were to factor, that if I could see, that we had limited resources, and if I was the politician that could see exactly how much resources we had, and that then I would go, okay, yeah, then we don't need to do that.
Hmm.
I guess I'm also kind of thinking about living in this hypothetical perfect world. If we had unlimited resources, sort of thing.
Sure.
That yeah.
If
So
psychologists grew on trees.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, there are a lot of people with psychology degrees that are out of work. So
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I know. That's probably not a good thing, is it?
yeah.
We
But
probably need to
anyway,
get a few of them into the action to try and
yeah.
help.
But okay, so we have a couple comments. Just popped in to say hi. Can't stay, but I'll be sure to catch it later. That's Wukong. Sunny Davis says
Okay, cool. Hey, Wukong, because he's a cool dude. I know of him. Wukong, great man. Thanks for tuning in for any amount of time that you did. Appreciate it.
if you don't afraid of death, does death still? Oh, okay. So Sunny Davis, I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't. Is that one of yours?
Nope. But anyway, it says if you're not afraid of death, does the death penalty still count as a punishment? Like,
I don't know. That's pretty deep. I don't know, dude.
well, it's like
But in
it's
that
not
case, I would say it's not really about the punishment. It's just
exactly,
about eliminating the threat,
exactly. That's what I'm thinking
yeah,
too.
and then preventing us from wasting money and resources on somebody we
Exactly.
shouldn't. Right.
So and he says again, if you feel other people's life are worthless, it's only fair that you shouldn't value your own.
Yeah, I guess. I
Yeah, it's only
guess. I
fair
don't
that you,
know.
you shouldn't value.
It's kind of deep, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just rereading it to get it all in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. Any more?
No, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
It's only fair that you should. I'm just like thinking about this one for a little bit.
It's deep. I know. It's
Yeah.
deep. It's a heavy topic, man. It's a really, really heavy topic. So, hey, if anybody's watching this, if you got to this point, my God, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We're just two dudes here trying to explore thoughts and try to like talk things out and see what happens. And so if you sit through all this, then thanks. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, my throat's starting to get dry, so I'll let you
have some more of that chimichanga
American
gin.
gin. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully I'll let you come up with the topic later. I know that the topics that I come up with are always kind of depressing, but
no, come on, it's fine. It's totally fine. We lightened it up at different times.
Mhm.
I won't say it again, but we lightened it up. We had some comedy in there.
But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. I guess the next time we'll do this on my channel, and
yeah, totally. There's a bunch of different topics I want to cover. So
yeah,
but yeah, hey, if anybody's watching and you guys have ideas, feel free to shout them out. Like we go off of what's in our minds, but I'm happy to take suggestions from anyone. So do that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I guess we'll wrap it up here. Yeah, let us know what you think about the death penalty. Whether you agree with try to explain why, try to explain your own position, and maybe we can talk a little bit about it in the comment section.
Sure. Yeah, let's have a discussion. Definitely.
Right.
So yeah, one more time. So thanks a lot, guys. Thank you to everyone who's watching. I really appreciate it. I know Dan really, really appreciates it. Thanks for listening to us, talk and get our thoughts out. And make sure you tune in next time when it's on my channel. Make sure you go over to Dan's channel. You tune in next time when he's doing the podcast over there. And yeah, I'll see y'all later.
All right. My channel is Dan ZWKU. Just putting that out there. All right.
Go search him out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you later.
Take care. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.